Thank you for tuning in to As It Lays. Today's subject is George Hamilton. George, thank you for being here.
I'm lucky to have found it.
We'll just get started with the questions. Have you saved anything as a memento from your childhood?
Well, probably the only memento I have from childhood is me. The rest of it is sort of invented. I kind of looked around and saw a very glamorous world that my mother lived in. And I thought, well, if I'm going to be anybody, I better step up into that world. And so I just started watching people. And my mother was around movie stars, and my father was an orchestra leader. And so I started to, that's the mementos I sort of saved them and tried to become like them.
If you had to eat only one country's cuisine for the rest of your days, which would you choose?
Well, I love French food, and I've spent a lot of time in France over the years. But truthfully, give me a good Mexican restaurant in Mexico. I'm a happy man then. Or even in LA, I like it. Or even in border Mexican food, like Tex-Mex, Mex, or Tex, any one of them. It's pretty amazing.
Is it really so bad to judge a book by its cover?
Well, it depends on which book you're talking about and which cover. I've judged books by their titles. I wrote a book called Don't Mind If I Do, and I didn't particularly like the title, but I'm thinking about writing another book called Do Mind If I Don't. It's something that happens as you get older.
Do you ever feel social anxiety?
I did as a child. I think I felt social anxiety in the sense that, you know, all of us are entering a world we don't know anything about. And then all of a sudden you realize everybody is as sensitive to things, and everybody is worried and have the same kind of fears. The great thing about life is to realize that everybody is like you in many ways, and that's where your success comes from. It comes from finding the people who relate to you and vice versa.
Are there any dreams you've given up on?
No, I've never given up on the dream. The dream's become tarnished. It's become a little out of date. It's become a little out of reach. But each one of those things makes it more interesting, and your goal becomes something different. You didn't realize what you originally started out with is just a place you pass through on the way to where you're going.
What's your favorite so bad it's good movie?
Well, I've been in a few of them, so I have to say, I have to say that there have been a number of movies that I didn't particularly think were particularly good. But what was good is that I survived them to live and work another day. That was the good part.
Have you ever had a cronut?
A cronut meaning a croissant and a donut. And no, I've never had them. I've never had the cross at the same time. I've had a donut, and then I got a croissant, but in a different country at a different time. So I'm looking to put those two together for a fascinating morning, but it seems like it would involve some sort of travel.
Would you make a good high school teacher?
I think I would. I think I would make a good high school teacher because I relate to kids a lot. I love kids at any age, and I think I'm kind of childlike myself. I love to laugh. I love to laugh at myself. I love to laugh at other people, and other people don't always laugh, and that's what bothers me. Is why didn't certain people not laugh?
Have you ever lost a large sum of money while gambling?
Yes, I have. I've lost a large sum of money, but I've also won a huge sum. And that's in the end what you want, is you want to win the huge ones and lose the large ones, or the little ones. Yeah, I have. And it all depends on what is huge and what is relative to that. When you have no money, losing anything is a pain. But I've done very well in that. Gambling is a very interesting subject, and one which I put myself on the line many times, my whole life on the line, put it all on the line. And I like that because you're willing to show up and go all in. And when you do that, nature or whatever that rules all this knows that you're committed. And sometimes it'll give you it when you least expect it. So you got to keep trying.
Are the French really the best kissers?
Well, well, you can say they're pretty good. But I like some of the Italians. I like the Germans. I like some of the Brits. A couple of Russians I really thought were pretty interesting. They had to have a back brace and a neck brace after one kiss. But all in all, it's about passion, and it's not about ethnicity, and it's about excitement. And you have to curry that to get a good kiss, and you have to find someone who excites you, and you can commit to the passion to them. So there's a chemistry involved, and it can't be done just by a group. The most difficult of people can be the most passionate when they release their inhibitions.
Are you a crier?
A crier? No, I think I resist that. I think by nature I'm a little bit withdrawn. And as I've gotten older, Father Time is the meanest man in town. That's the one that you have to watch out for. As you get older, age sneaks in, and you feel things that you never felt before. They're like moods or such. And you start, even if you're a very cold person and you're withdrawn, your life, as it starts to get further along, you start to relate to other people, and they bring in out of you tears sometimes. They bring out of you an empathy you didn't know you had. Especially little kids. I love little kids. I think, what do they have to look forward to? What is going to happen to these? What world of things that I've gone through that they haven't started out on the road to? It's fascinating. Yeah, I cry once in a while for them. Yeah.
What character of fiction is most like you?
Well, I am character fiction. I created that character. I kind of put him together. I think that I saw people out of the 1920s, and I loved that era. And it was all ending. And I saw movie stars that were in the 50s that were a holdover of that, and they had a certain style about them, and there was royalty that had a certain style. So I started to try to be like Cary Grant, and I would sit home and I'd speak like him. Yes, but hello, how are you? And I'd talk like that. And then I'd start to look at the royals, and I'd see the way they only worked on their handkerchief and worked on their tie and their cuffs, and I started putting these characters together. And for a while, I was a combination of those people. I can't say there's one of them. It's an amalgam. And as I get older, I see myself in the first row, and I'm the first heckler that I could that's in the row that's bothering me. In other words, I sit there and push my own buttons because I like that. I like the idea that I got wherever I am, and I'm now able to laugh at it. I think that's the biggest thing that I enjoy in it all.
Do you know any biblical verses by heart?
No, I don't know any. No, I don't know any. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Of course, I do. I know the Lord's Prayer, and I know several other verses which I've used in times of need, because I do believe in a greater power, and I think that the Bible has so many of them in it that that are great. And I've used them in times of need. Yeah.
The mountains or the beach?
The beach. The beach. I mean, hello, the beach. I mean, I'd jump off the mountain to get to the beach. I just love the beach. I mean, it's where you can find me anytime. I love it.
What's a fair price to pay for a cup of coffee?
Well, it's whatever you got on you when in need. And if you're not in need of it, then you can negotiate. But if you're in need of a cup of coffee, I'd say give it up, whatever it is, give it up. Although I don't think I've ever paid more than $5 for a cup of coffee. Who knows what's going to happen next.
If you could spend one night with any celebrity, who would it be?
Did it. Did that. Yeah. Did it. Yeah. And the second and third and fourth and fifth choice.
Do actions speak louder than words?
Yes, always do. I think words are cheap and easy, and in the long run, words make all the difference. I mean, actions make all the difference. Words make a different kind of difference. They make a difference where people solve it for the moment, but long haul, it's who shows up when you need them, and there are very few of those. This town is a town that really checks them out, and I've had a lot of people show up for me when I needed it. But it's all based on the same old golden rule. You show up for them, they'll show up for you. It doesn't matter where it is.
Should Christmas trees be real or artificial?
I think everybody would say they should be real. It's the smell that's so great that it just conquers the room when you've got a Christmas tree, whether it's outdoors or indoors. But there's sometimes you would wish that they would not be real because they're so easy to pack up and not have to take all those thorns and what do you call them off the floor. But yeah, I think they got to be real.
If you could be any age for a week, which would you choose?
Well, I remember some really good ages, I mean, in my lifetime. I would say 7 to 9 was a good, really good. That would have been a good time to be back again. Now it's 7 to 9. You want to stay up not past 9 o'clock, but I would say that. And then I would have thought maybe 22 and maybe 35. Now I'm 78, 79, just 79 years old I'm coming upon. So I'm glad to be, I can tell you right now, the age I really would like to be is 80 because that's next. You want to be able to be, you want to say to people, I'll see you later, or how about I'll call you tomorrow. I think I'd like to think 80, so I'm going to say 80.
What do you want the world to know about George Hamilton?
Well, I'm a really good guy. I can say that as independently in my own skin as I can. I'm there for you, and I'm a guy who basically doesn't have a lot of bad thoughts. I found that everything that's come to me has come to me not because I was outsmarted anybody or I was better at anything. I was just there and willing, and people feel that in me. They know that. Then I'm not a bad guy. So I got to say, I think that's what I want you to know. I'm a guy you can always count on in a trouble situation. If you need me, I'm there. I've never put myself first over my morality. That's the bottom line.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for watching.
I wanted to give you some tanning tips and things like that, but maybe the next time, could we do that?
Thank you.
Thank you.